Hello friends, welcome to the Conservatory at Mathi Botanical Gardens. My name is Kathy and I'm a docent here. Today I'm standing in one of the 3 large rooms at the conservatory known as the Tropical House. Imagine yourself in a tropical rainforest, somewhere near the equator. What would the air feel like and what might you smell? Well, because it rains a lot in the tropics, the air is very warm and wet, humid, and the ground is also wet. And so what I can smell is that good growing scent of damp earth. I'd like to introduce you to a plant today that's very important to me. See if you can guess why. It's a chocolate tree, isn't it? How many of you like chocolate? Most of you, I bet. Is this really how chocolate grows? No, of course not. But this cacao tree is really the source of the cocoa beans that we make chocolate from. One of the weird things about the cacao is the way its flowers grow right out of the trunk and larger branches. Let's take a look right here and see if we can see some. Here we have flower buds, at least, sticking right out of this large branch. These bumps and rough places on the trunk are where the flowers would grow from. I've never noticed this myself, but I read online that the flowers either don't smell at all or they smell bad. Why would a flower smell bad? Well, the reason flowers smell at all is to attract pollinators. But what kind of a pollinator would be attracted to a bad smell? Flies. And a tiny fly called a midge is a pollinator of this cacao flower. Once the flower is pollinated, a fruit called a pod can start to grow. And it will grow right out of the trunk and larger branches, just like the flowers did. Let's look around in the tree canopy and see if we can find some. There's a couple right there, those big yellow pods. When the pods are yellow or orange, they are ripe and ready to be harvested. If we were to cut into one of the pods, the first thing we would see is a lot of white pulp. And that pulp is edible and tastes kind of lemony. If we take that off, then what we see underneath are the big brown seeds inside, which we call cocoa beans, right? And it's from those cocoa beans that the chocolate is made. Is it an easy thing to make chocolate from cocoa beans? No, it's not. Those beans have to be fermented and dried and roasted and ground before they can be made into chocolate. But that complicated process is part of what makes chocolate so special. Another interesting thing to notice about the chocolate tree are its leaves. The chocolate tree never gets very big, and because it's growing in a rainforest, it's usually surrounded by a lot of taller trees. Therefore, it has pretty big leaves, as we can see here, in order to capture as much sunlight as possible to make food for itself. When these leaves are first growing, they tend to have a reddish color. Why do you think that might be? Well, if you were a hungry animal looking for a leaf to chomp on, what color would you have in mind? Green, probably, right? So if an animal were to see a red leaf, it might not even recognize it as a leaf, and therefore not eat it. Pretty tricky, hey? I hope you'll be able to come out to the conservatory soon and see this chocolate tree for yourself. I can promise you'll find it very interesting. But I can't promise you any chocolate. I will have already eaten it.